to tell the umpires whether the guy's injured or not. The umpires are not doctors. They can't tell that.
Sure.
So it'll be interesting to see if any teams abuse that rule. MLB will take a close look as to how they'll monitor that. And the whole rule is supposed to be a speed-up rule.
That'll go shortstop to the second baseman to the first baseman on that rocket off the bat of Van Meter against the new Seattle pitcher. Now Joey Votto against the left-hander. And it just, we started to talk earlier, and we zeroed in primarily, exclusively, in fact, so then a third, but all three have to do with shoulder injuries. Along with Suarez, the most talked about player. And he's talking about wanting to do this and being able to do that, went through all baseball related.
He feels that his place is on that ball club and on that team in center field. So, you know, he's got a couple of things to consider. One is you got to get that shoulder 100%. It's his throwing arm. You got to make sure that you can make the throws that.
Boy, what an incredible season he had last year, especially after leaving Detroit. Team that when he walked through the door, they were right smack dab in the middle of trying to contend for the postseason, whereas in Detroit, you know, they were as many runs in 51 games with Chicago.
Well, I think a lot of that trade on you, but when you're one of many, that's when you get more mistake pitches.
Sharply hit ball, but to the glove side, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Chen. We play three. And it's
they aren't used to losing, that have been on winning ball clubs. And you're looking at them all across right here, all the moves that the Reds made, they cut out which ones fit the best. I think they did a great job on both counts.
Market big money teams are starting to shed payroll and starting to really pare back. I mean, look no further than even the
Well, it does go to show you, though, the Homer Bailey. They had to make that trade with the Dodgers last year, not necessarily to go out and get Yasiel Puig and else. And that enabled the Reds to do something this year and signing the free agents that they did.
Moustakas a fly ball to the center fielder Fraley for the first half. Then a time or two during the last number of years with the injury bug. He had the serious shoulder problem when he went diving to. And then last year, the back issue became a major issue for just, and then gets hit by a pitch, and now all of a sudden, you know, out a couple of days, got hit right around the wrist forearm area.
I think the reality, Tom, of a young player who's a high prospect, when I'm healthy, I can be a top caliber player. And I think that's what the challenge, like Phillip Ervin fall into that category. Senzel, you can only be a prospect for so long. At some point, you've got to be a really good major leaguer.
And Jim Day, you alone.
Patience whatsoever, and at this point, he's got to feel like he's snake bit a little bit. Here we are in the first at bat, and he got 2 more days, so he escaped this one. But he's got to be feeling like, what do I have to do to stay healthy here?
Well, the Castellanos, who is not exclusively a right.
You know, part of the pressure is not only on the players, Tom, but on the organization.
Nice play down there at third, and the throw is by the first baseman. I'm sure that'll be scored an infield hit for Irvin.
And what I mean by that, up in the air right now, so it'll be interesting the way it plays out.
That ball ripped to the right field. I tell you, we didn't mention Payton's name and all that. You alluded to him earlier, but all you can do is go out there and do the best.
So while he sat home and watched his roster spot, I guess his spot on the depth chart, you know, bounced down a couple of spots every time the Reds made another move.
Alone a 2-hopper down to first, bobbled over there, but enough time to get the out for White, and the Reds get a couple of hits at strand 2. We're off to the 5th in a 1-1 affair.